Hey everybody, welcome back to What's Poppin' in Pattaya and the Pattaya News. And today, are we going to talk about something that many of our expat and local resident readers have been all aghast about over the past week. And that's about possible and proposed changes to the tax rules in Thailand by the Ministry of Finance. And how could that affect an expat or somebody who stays in Thailand over 180 days a year? But first, before we get into that, I wanted to do what we normally do in these weekly videos and talk to you a little bit about the events this weekend in Pattaya. This weekend, there's only really one event, and that particular event is going to be the Loma, or Dolphin, run on Jomtien Beach. It'll be taking place on Sunday, the 24th of September, from about 4 a.m. near the Dongtan police box is actually where they get going, and they'll end around 9 or 10 in the morning. They're actually going to begin setting up the race course and basically stanchions in that area all up and down Jomtien Beach from about midnight on Sunday. But traffic will close or be limited in and around the areas where they're running after about 5 o'clock a.m. that morning. Those of you who have a condo and live in and around that area, expect some loud speakers and noises. In prior years, they actually set off fireworks to mark the start of the race, but that really upset a lot of people that live in that area. So that's probably not going to happen this time, but it's just something to keep in mind. For those of you who are up early and want to see the races, absolutely, they'll be running all up and down the beach and all up and down Jomtien Second Road throughout the morning. For those of you who want to sleep in, well, good luck with the loudspeakers. And for those of you that have through traffic or need to get somewhere that morning, keep in mind that through traffic should avoid that area due to the annual Dolphin Run this weekend. So that's it for events. That's all we have. So the past couple weeks that we've been running this, we've been talking about things like the waterfront condo situation, high season in Pattaya, and Chinese tourists returning, which I'm going to touch on possibly a little bit today also. But the biggest thing that I really wanted to touch base on this week, it wasn't the biggest story in Thailand or the biggest story locally in terms of reads and comments and engagement, but it was one that alarmed so many people and had many personal emails and messages sent to myself and other members of the news team that I wanted to touch base on it. And that's the Ministry of Finance stated that they are passing new rules that will basically allow them to collect income tax on income overseas, especially for people who have been in Thailand. They said residents, not nationals, for over 180 days a year. Now, this immediately caused huge panic, especially on some of the big expat forums like Asia Now, formerly Thai Visa. The first thing I'm going to say is this. I'm obviously no tax expert. I'm no accountant. I work with people who are. I've talked with people who are experts in this field. And there's all sorts of different speculation and all sorts of different ideas about what exactly this will mean. The problem is it's still so early in this situation. And the Ministry of Finance themselves have stated that they will be clarifying a lot of these issues because they're not supposed to start taking place until the 1st of January next year, 2024. And as they've already seen by a lot of the uproar online from mainly foreigners, quite honestly, not so much Thais, and it's really intended for Thais. We'll get that in a minute. They obviously are going to have to clarify a lot of this situation and a lot of what it will mean for people. Will we possibly get an exemption entirely for foreigners, as it's really not intended for foreigners? Maybe, maybe not. So first off, why are they doing this? I'm going to keep this very basic. If there's other people out there who can go into tax law all day and over what it could mean to your personal income, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep it very basic on why they're doing this, what it's going to look like, and a little bit of speculation, but why you shouldn't worry yet. You shouldn't be panicking. And there's people online that have absolutely been panicking that Thailand is going to tax all of their income, even though most of them belong to dual tax agreements where that actually can't happen depending on the country they're at. First up, why are they doing it? Well, like many countries, many Thais, rich Thais, use overseas income and overseas sources of income to kind of get around or utilize loopholes in Thai law to collect tax. For those of you who aren't aware, a lot of Thais, the majority actually, don't pay tax. It's been something the Thai governments have been trying to fix for many, many, many years, and there's all sorts of loopholes and gray areas and other problems with it. So one of the first things the brand new Thai Prime Minister did, Mr. Sretthavisan, who is a businessman by nature, so understands these situations, is he stated he wants to put these new tax rules into effect mainly to stop equality issues in Thailand, and inequality, really, the problems with that. So the main intention of this is not to say, oh, let's ding the foreigner and make more money off of foreigners and dual tax. That has nothing to do with why they wanted to do this. It's certainly the perception of some of our readers, but the main perception was actually to go after the top 1%ers, so to speak, and make sure that they're paying tax on all of their income and all of their investments, if they're a resident here for over 180 days a year. However, the laws and the really rules right now, it's not 100% finalized in terms of the Gazette and everything. They're very vague. And anybody who's been in Thailand for a while is probably not surprised with this, because a lot of times, especially with a new government in place, Thailand tends to have a knee-jerk reaction to things and say, oh, let's plug this hole, without really consulting experts and looking deep into what one change may cause all these dominoes to fall and all these possible other problems. And that's all these things that many of our readers, many of them quite intelligent, yes, I'm giving you a compliment, many of you are thinking about all the possible things that could possibly go wrong and possibly affect your income. I'm going to keep it really simple, stupid. I'm not calling you stupid, but it's an old acronym, KISS, K-I-S-S. It's not time to panic yet. I said that earlier in this video, but I really don't think it's time to panic yet, especially for those of you who are from a country, the majority which of you are, that has a dual tax agreement in which you're already taxed or have already been taxed on the income that you're bringing into Thailand. Now, there are some things that if this goes into effect with the current wording structure, that it will probably definitely have an effect on. One of the biggest of those things is if you're here over 180 days a year, although you may not be dual taxed, it is likely a possibility that you may have to file a Thai tax return. Now, some of you and some of us that have work permits or work visas, we do that already. We already pay tax. We have Thai taxes. Of course, some people have asked, does that mean that I get additional benefits and things like health insurance? No, probably not. They probably just want you to file. We're also aware that some people are concerned about giving the Thai government any sort of information about their finances. I certainly understand that concern, but it could happen. Again, though, could is the real thing. People are getting bent out of shape is the bottom line on something that hasn't even happened yet. We saw this a lot during COVID, where people were getting bent out of shape about possible proposals and possible restrictions without giving it some time for everything to really be clarified from the proper authorities. And as we move towards high season, I said I'd talk about this a bit. Next week, by the way, September 25th, is when Chinese tourists in Kazakhstan finally get visa waivers and are able to return to Thailand. Basically just, hey, here I am, here's my passport, walk on in without having to go through a difficult process with consulates and embassies, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to see a lot of tourists coming back. We're going to see a lot of more income in the area for the tourism and the economy. And we're about to go into high season. All of these are bigger priorities for the Thai government. Their kind of hope was they were hoping that they would be plugging a hole and a loophole by these new rules, which are probably going to take place. But again, it's not time to panic yet until all the concrete information is brought forward. I'm going to put a couple links down below from our articles if you're watching on YouTube and some of the things we've discussed on this. But I just wanted to give a general chat about it. Nothing too deep, nothing too deep about personal income. There's other videos and other YouTubers that are bringing up every possible possibility known to man, many of them tax experts. I just wanted to tell you that it's not time to panic yet. Could it affect you? It could. It certainly could. We could also get struck by lightning while doing this video today. But at the end of the day, what I would tell everybody to do is take some deep breaths. We'll continue to keep you updated on the situation, how it may or may not affect those in the country over 180 days a year. One last thing I'm going to say is if you are on the new Thailand privilege, formerly the elite visa, there could be some complications with this on there, and that's something many people have acknowledged. But again, the word could. has come up. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you like, subscribe, and follow. Tell me what you think about the proposed changes in the comments below. I'll see you guys next week.